Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today I have a big haul for you guys. I'm really excited about showing you guys all these books. I have stories about some of these books. I have some packages that I just opened over on my Peter Does Stuff channel. Oh, one of the books is slipping out. Let me slip it back into the package because I want to open it over here too. But I didn't really get into the stories about why I ordered these books, but I'm very excited about these. So I will save these two packages for the very end, because these are the ones that I'm the most excited about talking about. Okay, so we'll get into that in just a second. So I have this huge haul of all of these books over here. I don't even really know where to start. Actually, I'm going to probably start with, I don't know, I'm just going to randomly start. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one up first. So I just recently started reading this book, Milk and Honey, okay? I've heard so much about this. It's a poetry book, and it is, I've had it for a long time. I've had it for like 2 years. Actually, a friend of mine, she told me to get this book, I don't know, probably like when it first came out, and I never did. And then I think I saw it, yeah, I got it at Half Price Books. I saw it at Half Price Books, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get this. So I didn't really know much about it. All I knew was that it was like on the bestseller list, and everybody was talking about it, and it was a book of poetry. And that was really all I knew. I have to be honest with you, I'm not a huge lover of poetry. I like, you know, like stanza, like, you know, where it's like rhyming poetry. I don't love that. Like prose poetry, I do kind of like. But to sit and read a book, it's like really hard for me to do that. Maybe my reading tastes are changing a little bit. I don't know. That happens every couple of years to me. But anyway, I was in my basement, so I've like got all my books like boxed up into like donations, different areas and whatever. And so like on the desk down in the basement, I have all the books that like I'm saving, like books I still want to read and things like that. And all the books, are, like most of the books are in the bookshelf now. I probably have about, I don't know, 20 or 30 books still down in the basement. So I was going through them, and one of the books that I saw was Milk and Honey. And I was like, oh, that would be kind of like a quick read because it's like poetry. It's really short. So I like brought this book up and I started reading it. So let me read you, well, it just on the back here is like a poem. It's this woman's telling, okay, of her history. Now, I will tell you, if you have not read this book, first of all, I hate price tags on the back of books, but this one has been on here for so long that I don't think it's going to come up. Let me see if I hate price tags on the back of books. I got it off. Okay. Let me just tell you that this book is so vulnerable and so raw, so emotionally raw of her telling her story. It is so fantastically done. There are drawings in here as well. It is so beautiful, but I will tell you, trigger warning, I mean, it is a very heavy story of essay. And abuse. It is really beautifully written, though. I mean, I didn't really know. I kind of, to be honest with you, I love going into a book when I don't really know that much about it. And I went into this book really not knowing anything about it at all. And it is beautifully done. And so, now I lost my place because I took my bookmark out. My mother-in-law got me this bookmark from Chile. Isn't it pretty? See? Anyway, I don't know where I was, so I'll have to just put that in there and I'll find out later. But anyway, so I got on Amazon when I started reading it. I read like a fourth of that book or a third of that book that night. Just sat on the front porch and I loved it. So I got online and did I order 2 of her books or just 1 of her books? Hold on. I ordered 2 of her books actually. I think this is the one that got really famous first, but somebody can let me know in the comment section below because I really do not know much about her. I don't even want to mispronounce her name. I think it's Rupi Kaur. Rupi Kaur. Anyway, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Can somebody let me know in the comment section below? But I went online and I bought her other 2 books, and there's one called Homebody. And it's a very similar, I mean, the setup is exactly the same with the poems and the drawings and stuff. And then I also bought The Sun and Her Flowers. I mean, these books are beautiful, you guys, too. Can we just talk about, like, these covers of these books? I mean, they're very simple. They're beautiful. So I have not read these 2 yet. I'm like, I don't know, probably right now I'm like halfway through this one. You could probably sit and finish this in one setting if you want to know the truth, but I'm like halfway through that right now. So when I get done with that, I'm going to start these. I love the little art. They very much, to me, remind me kind of drawings that you would just like, you know, like if you had a composition book and you just like wrote poems and drawings, but it's very personal and very vulnerable and raw, and I love anything like that. So really excited about these books. Okay. Now, the next books that I'm going to show you are books that I got. So I've been doing these over on my Peter Does Stuff channel, and then I said I was going to haul them over here. I think if I continue to buy them, I'm probably going to do them over here, but I don't know that I'm going to continue to buy them. So do you guys know these things called dates with a book? Okay, I saw him a couple years ago when I was visiting Mel, my book club partner in Arizona. We were at a bookshop. I think it was called, I just asked her the other day. I said it in a video. It was Booksmith or Booksmark or something like that. But anyway, we walked in and they had all these like books that were like wrapped up. And so you couldn't see what the book was. And it would say like, it would have the price on it. And then it would say like, hi, I'm a mystery, or hi, like I'm a romance or whatever. And then you could buy like, you have no idea what mystery it was, but you were buying a mystery. And I loved that. I thought it was real cute. Well, now I've seen these all online. They have these dates with a book, okay, where you can get them on Etsy. They have tons and tons of them on Etsy. And where you like pick the genre of the book that you want. You can get like historical fiction, romance, nonfiction, mystery, horror novel, thriller. You can do whatever you want. They have all different kinds. And each box or each date with a book is kind of a little bit more specified. Like some of them are just like a book with like a bookmark and a pen or a candy. And some of them have like candles and stuff with them. I'll be honest with you. I think they're fun. I think they would be a good gift for somebody that loves bookish things. Like if I got one as a gift, I think it would be really cool that somebody like thought of that as like a bookish gift. But now that I've ordered like 3 of them, and I think I have one more coming, I bought them, like I ranged them, I think from like $12.99 all the way up to like $50. I don't know that I think that they're really worth it, in all honesty. I mean, most of the books you can pick up at like a half price books kind of place. And then it just, you know, I mean, I know a lot of it is putting it together, and that part of it is really, really cool. They're just really, really expensive. I mean, for what you get, plus you pay shipping and handling on top of them. So they're really expensive. But the 3 books that I got so far are Paul Tremblay's The Cabin at the End of the World, which I actually thought this was a good box because this is like a book. I mean, this is a good thriller. I mean, I've heard a lot about it. Well, I had heard a lot about it, and then I read it several years ago for Spookathon, actually, that Books and Lala put on. And I read this book for Spookathon, and then watch the movie. So I actually recommended this to my friend Nikki the other night. And I also read Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. So this was one of the books that I got. If you're looking for a really spooky book for October or for fall, I would definitely recommend any of Paul Tremblay's books. But Cabin at the End of the World is probably one of his best. I think I've read like 3 or 4 of his. I think this is probably one of his best. It's about a couple that goes and stays in this cabin. I keep on calling it the Cabin at the End of the Woods. This couple that goes and stays, most people have seen the movie by now if you haven't read the book. The book is 100 times better than the movie, but I will say this, the movie I mean, it does it justice. But the book is just so much scarier and so much more apocalyptic. It's an apocalyptic book about the end days and things like that. So anyway, I would recommend this for a thriller if you're looking for a scary book for fall. Actually, I should look up the books that I recommended to her. Okay, and then I also got Bones and All by Camille DeAngelis, which this has been made into a movie as well. And the back of this book says, hold on a second, I'm getting a phone call. Let me check this. The book says, Monn Yearly is a young woman who wants the same things we all do. She wants to be someone people admire and respect. She wants to be loved, but her secret, shameful needs have forced her into exile. She hates herself for the bad things she does, for what it's done to her family and her sense of identity, for how it dictates her place in the world and how people see her, how they judge her. She didn't choose to be this way. Because Monn Yearly doesn't just break hearts, she devours them. And I think this is considered a horror novel as well. Ever since her mother found Penny Wilson's eardrum in her mouth, I guess absolutely probably a horror novel, Monn was just 2 years old. She knew life would never be normal for either of them. Love may come in many shapes and sizes, but for Monn, it always ends the same, with her hiding the evidence and her mother packing up the car. But when her mother abandons her the day after her 16th birthday, Monn goes looking for the father she has never known and finds much more than she bargained for along the way. With a world of fellow eaters, potential enemies, and the prospect of love, Monn realizes she isn't only looking for her father, she's looking for herself. And it says it's been made into a movie and that it has Timothée Chalamet and stuff in it. Now, I have to tell you, I saw, or is it the other one? No, this is this one. I saw the trailer for this movie. Okay, the trailer looks very, very dark. They're like in a parking lot. They act like they're vampires or something. I don't know if this is about vampires, but anyway, Bones and All. So I'm going to read it and I'm going to watch the movie. Okay. And the last one I got is by Crystal Sutherland, and it's House of Hollow. And this was in one of the boxes, too. This was the box that I got yesterday. Somebody said that this book is on the New York Times bestseller list, but I did not know that. They commented in my comment section below. Dark, dangerous things happen around the Hollow sisters, ever since they disappeared as children, only to reappear a month later, with no memory of what had happened to them. Odd, eerie occurrences follow in their wake. When Gray, the eldest, goes missing again, Iris and Vivi are left to figure out the mystery, but they aren't the only ones looking for her. As they brush against the supernatural, Iris realizes that the world that returned them 10 years ago might be calling them back, but just how much horror lies beneath the surface. This looks like a series. Is this book 1 in a series? Okay. Yeah, I think this is book 1 in a series. So, actually it's interesting because back in the day, like just standing in like half-price books going through the books, this is something I probably would have gotten. But yesterday, like when I opened it in the box or the day before, I was just like, I don't know if I'll read this or not. But anyway, okay. So I wanted to also share with you guys this graphic novel that I just finished. I am constantly on Amazon looking for graphic novels. I love graphic novels that have a really, really good story to them. I didn't years ago when I started on BookTube read a lot of graphic novels, and that's kind of changed over time. It's like, I used to say I only like standalones, I don't like series. Today, I prefer series to standalones. So my reading tastes have changed over years. Well, I didn't used to like graphic novels, but I do now. But I like graphic novels that have a really good story. Like, I love the Heartstopper novels. My husband's actually watching that show on Netflix right now. I loved Bloom. There's a couple different ones. I'm actually reading the Walking Dead compendiums right now and things like that. So when I get on Amazon, I look at books, I like look for the newest graphic novels. Well, I don't know why this one came up, because apparently it came out in 2014. But it's called This One Summer, and it's by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki, who are cousins. And let me just read the synopsis for you. An unforgettable summer. Rose and her parents have been going to Owago Beach since she was a little girl. It's her summer getaway, her refuge. Her friend Wendy is always there too, like the little sister she never had, completing her summer family. But this summer is different. Rose's mom and dad won't stop fighting, and Rose and Wendy have gotten tangled up in a tragedy in the making in the small town of Owago Beach. It's a summer of secrets and heartache, and it's a good thing Rose and Wendy have each other. Now, I just have to tell you, okay, I mean, I would read like 10 pages here, 10 pages there, and on I think it was Sunday or Saturday, I just sat down and finished the whole thing, sitting outside with a cup of coffee. I don't even know how to explain to you how I was when I finished this book. Like, I just felt sad and lost, but at the same time, like, deeply moved by this book. This is one of the not only one of the best books I've ever read, but one of the best graphic novels I've ever read. I would highly recommend this to show people. I mean, it is supposed to be like a young adult, like, YA, like, graphic novel. I don't know that you would really conceptually understand. You would get the themes, but there's nothing like really like, I mean, the themes are about like a mother and a father that are fighting. There's like a miscarriage that happens, and there's I will say there's like bad language, and there's talk of sex and stuff like that. So this is not for like kids, like little kids, but the concepts aren't that big. I just don't think until you're older, maybe like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like you really kind of get, I mean, it's really about this last summer that these girls are ever going to spend together. And it's like, I didn't really even get it. It really reminded me a lot of like summers growing up when I finished this. It was such a great book. So it's called This One Summer. I would highly, highly recommend this. Okay. Then I got, Sink by Ellen Hopkins. And this is the new Ellen Hopkins book. It literally just came out. If you've never read Ellen Hopkins' book before, speaking of prose, they are written like prose, okay, like poetry, but they don't read that way. They just read like regular pages of a book, but they're written like that. I have loved Ellen Hopkins' books for so long, and I have not read them in a while, and I'm trying to get back into them. So I just recently rebought her first two, and she wrote a series of books. The way that Ellen Hopkins got famous was that she wrote 3 books. I think the first one's called Glass. And she based it on her daughter's methamphetamine addiction, I believe, is the story that I've heard. But it's like Glass, Burned, and something. There's 3 of them. They're fantastically done. She writes about a lot of like, her YA is like, you talk about raw and vulnerable. It's about like kids running away. It's about like, she's got a lot of food issues. I mean, she really addresses things right on. So when I saw that she had a new book coming out, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this. So this is the new book, Sink. And it says on here, oh, it's a long synopsis. Twins Storm and Lake have always been in perfect sync. Growing up, they could always tell what the other was thinking or feeling. Together, they weathered the pain of their mother's neglect and abuse before finally being turned over to the state at the age of 10. For the next 7 years, they bounced from foster home to foster home, sometimes placed together, but mostly apart. It's now been years since Storm has even heard news of Lake, and he wonders how she's doing, if she's still acing her classes, if someone baked her a cake for her 17th birthday, if she's safe like Storm finally is with his foster dad, Jim. He hopes she has someone in her corner like Storm has in his girlfriend, Jaden, the first person he truly feels he can trust in a long time. But that's all upended when Jaden is SA'd by an ex. It pushes Storm over the edge, landing him back in lockup, and he fears that this time it will be for good. Lake thinks about Storm too. Is he happy? Is his foster situation as weird and wonderful as hers? Lake's new foster parents are uber religious and strict, and she talks a lot about religion in her books. I mean, she talks about it like religiosity and growing up in religiosity and things like that. And living in their house is only bearable because of her fellow foster Parker, who is beautiful and charming, but also impulsive and struggling with her own past trauma. When Lake's fosters catch the girls in a compromising position, they run away with only $60 to her name and no real plan. Soon they're living on the streets, more lost than she's ever been. Lake remembers Storm's promise to protect her and wonders where he is now. Told in dual perspectives, this searing novel in verse from the #1 New York Times bestseller author Ellen Hopkins is heartbreaking and unforgettable story of siblings carrying enormous burdens and fighting their way back to each other. I'm so excited about this. Okay, the next one that I got was, I'm trying to collect graphic novels of favorite books of mine. Like, I have To Kill a Mockingbird and things like that. And so I saw this just came out. It's brand new. And it's Cormac McCarthy's The Road, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I love that book so much. You want to talk about dystopian, apocalyptic. It's done so well and so beautifully written, though. It's not like zombies eating each other kind of stuff, which I equally love that as well, but it's beautifully done. So if you've never read The Road, you should read it. The movie is good too, but it's not as good as the book is like a silent, powerful book. And so I got this in the mail. The pictures are absolutely beautiful, you guys. I mean, they are just, this is beautiful. And there's like some that are in color. I don't know if you can see this, to kind of show like the old and the new. It's beautifully, beautifully done. So I'm very, very excited about this graphic novel adaptation of Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Okay, that brings me to my packages. Okay, so in my basement, I'm actually thinking about doing showing all my books that I have. I put like all the books that I'm keeping on the bookshelf. In the basement, I have about 20 or 30 books that are still in this desk that I'm going through. Like, do I want to keep them? Do I want to get rid of them? Every other book in this house, in this basement, is boxed up for donations. I've given many of them away already and stuff like that. So, going through them bit by bit, but they're all like boxed up. So, I've got like 20 or 30 left. And then I have this crate. And in this crate, I have all of these old, do you guys remember these teenage books? When I first started on BookTube, I would go to like Half Price Books, and I would go to Goodwill, and I would buy a lot of these books. And so I have like the Diana O books, where like, you know, like, oh, Sorority House Massacre. And then I have like the Carolyn Cooney books, like Face in the Milk Carton. And then I have a bunch of these Christopher Pike books, okay? So I was like, I haven't read this one, but I've read a couple of Christopher Pike's books, and I loved them. And they're kind of scary, but kind of cheesy. They're like Lois Duncan. I have a lot of her books too, like I Know What You Did Last Summer and those kinds of things. Same Face. What's the one about the faces? The Girl Has Her Face or something like that. So I got online the other night. I wanted to order some of them. This is so funny what happened, you guys. So I was reading the synopsis for this one called The Midnight Club. And I was like, oh, this sounds really, really good, okay? And then when I got done with it, I was like, I ordered it online because I was like, oh, this sounds really, really good. Well, when it came in the mail, I immediately saw this, which says on here, Netflix, coming to Netflix. What came to Netflix about 4 years ago, I think. I don't think I've watched this show, but my husband did, and he told me to watch it. I don't know why I never did, but he was like, you would like this show, it's good. Now I'm like, I don't remember if I watched it and just didn't have any impact on me, but if I haven't watched it, I keep a list of shows that I watch. I know somebody in my video is going to be like, Peter, you watched it. You talked about it 3 years ago. And I'm going to be like, oh, I did? Oh, that's right. And I'll go watch a trailer for it, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I did watch this show. I keep on thinking of School Spirits when I see this, but I'm going to read the book. If I haven't watched the show, I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to watch the show. But if I have watched the show, then I'm going to donate the book. So that's that. Now, the next one, I have to tell you, I have seen, like, on all these sites for Halloween stuff. I think it's originally, because somebody tell me in the comment section below, I think it originally was in Beetlejuice. I don't know anything about this book, but I have to tell you, this is probably the most excited I have been, and I got the paperback, not the hardback. This is probably the most excited I've been about buying a book in a really, really long time, because I have seen this book in like Halloween stores and stuff for years. I didn't actually know it was a real book. I thought it was like a notebook with just like this cover on it. And I've seen so many people buy it and have it in their house. Like, they'll take pictures of their house decorated for Halloween. They'll have this book there. And I'm like, oh, so this year I saw it on Amazon. It was like in their Halloween decorations section. It said something about Beetlejuice. I believe, I haven't watched the new Beetlejuice, although I heard it was fantastic. And I don't remember the last time I watched the old Beetlejuice, but I feel like I remember this book in the old Beetlejuice. And the book is the Handbook for the Recently, oh, it says Beetlejuice on here. Handbook for the Recently Deceased. So I am so excited about this because I don't know anything about it. I haven't even opened it or looked through it. So I'm looking through it the first time. But it's like literally, you guys, like, it's a book. What does it say in here? The Handbook for the Recently Deceased. Okay, Beetlejuice Journal and Handbook. Okay, and then it has different chapters. The Grand Awakening, the Death Laws, Chartering the Afterlife, An Undead Perspective, Special Skills and Exorcism. Does anybody have this? I'm kind of excited to read this if you want to know the truth. Welcome to Eternity, it says on here. Welcome to your eternity. I'm really excited to read this. I think it'll be kind of fun for Halloween. I don't know anything about this. Oh, it has pictures of him on the back. Enter the afterworld, scan the code below to receive exclusive... Okay, we don't need to do all that. How do I interact with the living? I mean, can I walk through walls? It responds in here. It's in reference to people in the movie, because it's talking about people in the movie in here. Okay, so I'm going to have to watch the old movie and then read this. Oh my god, this is so exciting. Let me know if you have this. Anyway, that's my haul for today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys. Happy spooky season. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.